Welcome to the Fence and Deck Mastery Podcast, where we discuss cutting-edge techniques, industry trends, and business insights to take your fence or deck company to the next level and dominate your competition.
Hello, everybody. Welcome back to the show. I'm your host, Alex Danner, and also the owner and founder of Fence and Deck Marketers, which is a marketing agency that works exclusively with fencing and decking businesses. Today, I have a very successful software business owner that helps contractors qualify and convert leads. And some of you may already be using him actually in his software. But today I have Jeff Wraley from Groundwork. Jeff, appreciate you hopping on the podcast. How's it going?
I'm doing great. Excited to chat, and thanks for having me on, Alex.
Yeah, absolutely. So I've had a couple clients use Groundwork over the years, and I first heard about it a long time ago, and I think I told Matilde from my team that we should talk a really long time ago, and then both of us had scheduling conflicts, so it took a while to make this actually happen. But finally got Jeff on here, and we found a time that worked. And basically today we're going to be learning all about Groundwork and how that helps contractors improve their sales process, convert more leads, things like that. But kind of get things started off, Jeff, if you don't mind, if you could just introduce yourself, your story, your background, your history, maybe in contracting, anything kind of leading up to Groundwork.
Yeah. So I'm an old man at 40, almost 41 now, but back in 2003 or 2002, and I was like 18, I helped my dad build a deck off the back of our house here outside of Indianapolis. And it was awesome. I enjoyed it a lot and was always pretty good with science and math, and Purdue University is right up the road. So I ended up studying construction engineering there, and I got into general contracting. It's just like I love building stuff. Like my wife's an interior designer, so we've always just like have projects going on. I don't do as much of the work now with kids and business and everything else, but any chance I can get my hands dirty, I love like getting into projects. So that's kind of my background. I've been in a lot of different aspects of the construction industry, large general contracting, residential remodeling with, the properties that we own. And it just kind of was like, hey, this residential side of things, like all I've learned from tech and innovation and like business process in the commercial side, the long tail of that market is smaller contractors who haven't yet, been able to adopt tools. They haven't been shown tools to help them run things more efficiently. And so that's really where the idea came about, was like, there's probably some improvement that can be made. And so I started asking, friends and other pros around. I was like, all right, what do you guys do? What's the pain points? And what I didn't have on my radar at that point was the sales process and how that can be so daunting and such a headache for pros who are, driving around and, talking with homeowners who are just kicking the tires and have no idea what it actually costs, and, really just might be looking for advice. But the only tool that a contractor has in their tool belt is, well, let me come and see you. And that often isn't the right approach for the pro or for the homeowner. So I came up with the idea of using video to help everybody get on the same page, provide a nice service to contractors who want to streamline things, get better information fast from homeowners. And so that was like the initial insight on how we've built Groundwork. It's just a video-based tool to help pros understand from the consumer's perspective, from the homeowner's perspective, what's going on, what's the pain point, what's the need, what are the ideas, what's the vision, and really shortcut that understanding of what the leads in their pipeline actually look like. And then obviously there's a ton of benefits, cut out drive time, fast track, fast projects that are simple enough, all that stuff, which I think we'll get into.
Okay. Yeah. I'd love to get right into that and kind of give everyone an understanding of how it works. So could you kind of walk us through like a user workflow and, how the homeowners handled, the lead, I guess the whole process?
Yeah, I mean, to boil it down, there's an intake, what we call a flow, so the homeowner's flow, and that's a an embed on a website, which I think you've experienced. There's a whole bunch of customization on how we do that. We're big on personalization, so like contractors, like business owners, preferably, um, creating a welcome video and like explaining the process and saying like, "Hey, we're here to help. Send us a video of what you're looking to get done." And then we can start walking you through the process, provide you some pricing, and just understand how we might be able to help. That's like the welcome kind of process. Homeowner gets comfortable. This isn't for everybody. Honestly, there are people who are, um, pick up the phone, read the paper every weekend, and the old school consumers may not be a great fit for this, and that's okay. So we have some options for that as well. But the people that get it, the homeowners that like, hey, I can fast track my process here, boom, they zip right through. They're welcomed into a process where they're, entering some information about their project. But the key is we want to get them to a video upload as soon as possible. So our system allows them to, if they're on their mobile device, we get them a text message so that they can, be on their mobile device with an actual phone, in an actual camera. And it's a simple video upload. We have some instructions for them, and it's all customizable for each contractor that we work with to describe to the homeowner what they should be capturing. So we have clients in a bunch of different industries. That looks very different for a remodeler than it does for somebody who's putting a deck on the back of a house. Those tips and tricks are a little bit different. So there's a bunch of flexibility to make sure that the homeowner knows exactly what they should be capturing. Homeowner records their video. I think the average video is like 92 seconds that a homeowner uploads. And then we have a back-end process and a system that tracks those leads, takes a lead in, processes the video. We use AI to understand what's going on in the video, for both the visual elements, and then also the audio is transcribed. So we get a really deep picture of what's going on with the homeowner and what they're looking to get done. And then we have some tools on the back end for pros to manage their pipeline. It's really like the front end of the pipeline. A lot of pros have a system that they use for estimating and e-signature and that type of stuff, and we integrate with a lot of those tools. So we're kind of like the first line of defense to like defending the pros' time, and providing a nice experience so that the right leads get on the calendar and get moving down the pipeline versus just I got a call and now I'm chasing a phone number and an email address. That's what we guard against, and then we integrate with a lot of the other systems that contractors use.
Okay, so at what point do they see the video, or they're told like to record a video? Is it after they fill out a form through the website and then they're prompted to do that?
Yes, exactly. I mean, there's a ton of flexibility with it, but some pros are very like adamant that like I don't want to talk to anybody unless they upload a video. Those are usually the contractors that have a ton of lead flow,
Yeah.
so they can be pretty picky, pretty choosy. They can put that friction in their funnel, but we also understand that there's a variability to how folks want to use this. So the long and short of it is we at least need to get their contact information. That's pretty important to understand who these people are, who sent you the thing. Otherwise, it's not very valuable. You can't follow up. So that's the basics. Is that you at least want to get their contact information, but then you can ask a bunch of other questions if you want to ahead of the video upload.
Okay. So with the video upload, like say you're on your computer, you're saying there's a way that it'll load it on your phone too?
Yep.
Okay.
Yeah, we have a way that, it's like we call that the transition block in our system. So there's a bunch of different ways that you can do that. Homeowners can also schedule the message that they get on their phone for a later time. So if they're not at their house able to record the video, they can schedule it for 5:15 in the evening when they get home from their day job or whatever. So there's a lot of flexibility, but try to make it as easy as possible. And we also support photos as well. that's the typical, like a lot of people come to us and they're like, well, I'll get photos, just text it to me. It's like, okay, well, that's good. But if you want to professionalize it, that's a lot of what we hear is like folks that look at our system, they're like, I do this now, but what you've got is like way more professionalized and way more, it's branded, it's easy. There's no clunkiness of like, did I email it? Did I text it? Which text line? Like all that stuff. We kind of house and organize that whole process in a way that's easy for homeowners, but also very organized for contractors.
Gotcha. Okay. How long has the company been around?
I started messing around with this idea in like 2018, 2019. So a handful of years. So we've learned a lot. We've got customers in a bunch of different industries. The product is, with AI, we're exploring a lot of different fun things to roll out. It's become easier and easier to build features. It's almost like, what do we build now? Because there's a lot of growing interest. There's some very popular folks that talk a lot about lead qualification and transparent pricing and those types of things. And I've had that vision for a long, long time. So a lot of people are coming around to it. So the market's getting educated in terms of like contractors thinking differently, which is awesome because consumers want that. That really is what they want. I'm sure people listening to this will say like, well, yeah, I get calls all the time. Somebody asks, well, what does a 10 by 12 deck cost? It's like, well, you can generalize, but you don't really, really know. But that's where the consumers are at a lot of times when they're just getting started thinking about their project.
Gotcha. So what industries, I'm guessing fencing and decking you do? Any others?
Yeah, a lot of outdoor living. That's probably our biggest one. We have a lot of tree service customers as well, which we're getting some tree work done at our house next week. And soon after that's the new fence. So if you're in Indianapolis, hit me up. I haven't planned that one out yet. Got some friends in the industry, but we haven't pulled the trigger. But yeah, tree service, outdoor living, fencing, painting, remodeling. Actually, there's a lot of value in the remodeling side of things, just because they're high consideration purchases. So people are kind of nervous to have somebody over to their house. So giving folks an easy way. And I mean, fencing's the same way, right? And it can be expensive, a lot more expensive than homeowners expect. So having that kind of buffer and like that early conversation to get everybody on the same page, that's when the tool is really, really effective.
Okay. And then how does it integrate with, you mentioned this a little bit earlier, but like, what are some tools it integrates with? There's popular CRMs and project management software. Does it work all with those? Like, how does it integrate?
Yeah, so we've got direct integrations with a handful of tools. Jobber and JobTread are two of the ones that are, probably most, the more popular ones. But then we have a whole host of other connections through Zapier. So, you can get to a lot of places through Zapier. So that's, was something we felt was important. But yeah, JobTread. Oh, Company Cam. We have a direct integration with Company Cam. So we'll set up a new location, new address in your address book, or update an existing one if you've already got that address as a record in your Company Cam side of things. So those are the major ones that we see a lot of usage on. But Zapier's heavily used by our customers. Now, some people use that on the marketing, like folks like you will ask us like, well, hey, can we get integration with some of the marketing tracking stuff? And we have a whole suite of marketing tracking tools as well. So each lead can be, we kind of capture Google click IDs, and we have custom direct redirects for, traffic to hit a certain page so that campaigns are, triggered and certain events are triggered in Google Tag Manager, that type of thing. So it's pretty well thought through. Sometimes we get on calls with people and they're like, oh, this is a lot more of a big boy system than we thought. So yeah, we've been around enough that we understand the workflows, we understand the people involved. Um, and yeah, love having those conversations.
Gotcha. So, how is it act as a CRM? Like, are you managing the leads in there, or like, say you're using Go High Level as a CRM, would it be not needed if you're using Groundwork, or, what's the case with that?
Yeah. High high level from our experience is more so used by the marketing team. I know there's like a lot of effort to get contractors to use the tool, um, which uh, maybe some do. A lot of what we've seen is if there is there's like a system, the concept of a system of record. Um, I would put like a jobber or job tread in that like system of record bucket, where it's like most of the workflow happens there. Most of like the meaningful like business management stuff happens there. We see ourselves as like top of the funnel. Um, so whether that's CRM, some folks use our stuff as a CRM. Now, is it a full function CRM like a HubSpot that has like a bunch of things in there? No. We're more so built for like the top of the funnel. Like, how do you get like first interest down to this is a qualified lead, booked appointment, until you start like putting a line item budget together. We think we've got good tooling to handle that customer conversation. But then again, we integrate with High Level and a bunch of those other tools to kind of keep everything locked in step. So a lot of it's just up to the contractor how they want to use it. We have certain contractors that are just like, I just use the front end of it, and then I get it into my whatever other system, and they use those tools to connect with the customers from there. So it's kind of a flexible arrangement on that front.
Okay. So you basically software is not like sending emails or something like that. Or is it?
No, we don't have it's actually all text messages.
Okay.
So I know there's some systems that are all email. We actually went the opposite way because that's, we think that that's what consumers are more active on, and pay a little bit more attention. So the response rates are higher, all that good stuff. So um, almost all text message.
Oh, sorry. I meant like, are you able to send text from the software? Like,
Oh, yes.
okay. So you can, I've never logged into this, so I'm not exactly sure, but I'm just thinking of what I use, like High Level. I can text people. That you can do that as well with this.
Yeah. So like think about you get a lead in, a video lead in through Groundwork in your fencing Indianapolis, right? Like that will come in. Users like the contractor gets an alert. They go watch the video, check out the transcription, look at the map, um, understand what the needs are of the customer, and then there's templatized responses that the contractor can use. We have some automation built in there too, where if they have past certain markers with their entry, you can send them a calendar invite. Um, you have templatized responses of like, hey, we don't do that type of thing, or um, we could use some more information. We have some of that templatized type of response in there that helps move the conversation along, and get leads to the right place, whether that be out of the funnel or continue on in the conversation.
Gotcha. Okay. So someone that's listening to this and is interested, like, what would you say is like the value, what they can expect to see as an improvement? Like, there any KPIs that you typically see that this helps out a lot with, things like that?
Yeah, I mean, the big one is just like lost time on driving. Highly qualified leads just close at a higher rate too. I mean, across industries, it's kind of hard to get an average, but we've seen, customers say like, hey, my close rate went from 30 to 45%. Um, on the leads that come through the Groundwork side of things. I should also mention that phone calls turning in, we're messing around with some voice AI. I know there's a bunch of systems out there that do that, but if you have a live person answering the phone or a call center, we've trained call center folks to like turn those inquiries into groundwork video leads. In other words, like they'll just send the text message to the homeowner right away. Homeowners like kind of queued up and they're like, oh, that sounds really nice. I'd love to do that to get some quick feedback. Those leads, when you have that warm personal touch into this like tech forward process, are like really, really, really hot leads. Those are like the ones that we see converted into business at the highest rate. So that's really important. But yeah, I mean, it's how much time are you spending driving? What's the value of that time to you? And then how quickly can you get some of these other projects? I call it fast track revenue, right? Like this person's ready to go. They've mapped it out. They know exactly what they want in terms of like what they've got pictures on their phone of what they want their fence or deck to look like. Like they're on it. They're already researched, and you're just, the person that can help them. Those are fast tracked, and when you get those buyers in our process, that's the stuff that like really, really flies through the pipeline quickly. So I don't know if there's a metric for that in terms of like speed to revenue type of thing, but that is the metric that we typically, just like if you hear our customers talk, that's what they'll say.
Okay. And you're saying the video could be delayed until after someone calls. So you're saying like you have the flexibility if someone wanted to like get a lead and then they wanted somebody to call and then have them do the video or no?
I think I was more so saying that if the homeowner is going through, like, let's say they, Google search or whatever, and they get to Superior Fence and Rail of Indianapolis, they can go through our flow, and then at some point, if they're on they can schedule the text message for later. So the message is like, hey, do you want to upload a video? They're like, well, I'm at the office right now. I can't upload a video. We actually can allow the user to schedule the text message for later. That's kind of how that functionality works.
Yeah. Yeah. No, I mean, one of the big reasons why I wanted to talk is because I definitely believe this is the future more people should be doing, and very few are. But, like the speed to lead is just so critical. And if you can get that information, especially a video where you kind of have a good idea of what's going on. And also, I feel like the homeowner will feel better if they know that they can record a video and like speed up the process maybe a little bit too. Like if they're like, hey, I want a new deck, new fence, or whatever. If that were me and I knew I got like a response really quick to take the video, it would kind of make me feel like, for one, they got everything's, their shit together basically. And then also it's, I guess, a little bit more modern. And I also think that's going to be a faster process, whether or not it actually is, because I'm sure some clients are pretty delayed on, reaching out from the videos or whatever. But I just think overall, like, because everyone's so impatient with things, I've seen a couple of clients use yours. I've seen people use like Zoom, but I like the idea of having like a more put together system like this, so it's easier for the homeowner, I guess, and also I'm sure getting a lot more leads or, like you said, higher conversion rates. So
yeah, and I think it's like you said, that's where things are going. Homeowners, I always hesitate to use this, but like there's the world is very comfortable with online dating, and like this digital presence that we have is like actually can build at least some element of connection between two people who like don't know each other. And I think we've figured out a way to do that is, fits that homeowners are like, oh yeah, this makes sense. Like I do videos all the time of random stuff. Like this makes sense to communicate in this way. But it is still personalized, right? It's like, here's my thing, here's my vision. And I should also mention that the contractors can respond with video, async. So it's like, hey, here's my, I saw your video. Thanks for sending that.
that's a great idea.
Contractors in the truck or whatever else. I would love to see more folks take us up on that feature, because like I, as a homeowner, even if it's not like if it's a 15-second video touch, like that's meaningful to the homeowner. It's like, hey, you heard me, right? Like we say like mention something that the homeowner mentioned, right? Like they got a dog in the video, mention like, hey, I've got a dog too, like whatever, right? Like, or I mean,
Yeah.
in the fencing world,
Yeah.
like just draw those comparisons, draw those connection points, because that's what it's like. Homeowners feel like they're shouting into the abyss when they're Googling and trying to
Yeah.
figure out like who the heck like who do I trust in this whole situation? It's like they don't know. And unfortunately, there's a lot of freaking bad contractors out there who, you know, the expectation is like a bad experience.
Yeah. Yeah.
So there's
Yeah. We're gonna get screwed
nerves.
over or something.
Yeah, you're just going to get screwed over. And honestly, the decking and fencing world has a pretty bad reputation for that. So putting together even just like a 15-second, hey, got your video. I'll get back to you tonight when I get back to my office and have a chance to catch up.
Yeah.
That's like a mind-blowing thing.
Oh my gosh, yeah. That's a total game changer and something I wish I was better about and something so I guess it's something I've been wanting to implement too, because like you said, I mean, just like a marketing agency, people think they're gonna get screwed over by marketing agencies all the time
Hmm.
too. So it's kind of the same world as contracting to an extent, but I mean, how cool would that be if you're like, especially, I mean, hands down, I think in any capacity on the decking side would be really cool. Same with the fencing. But if you're like that, I guess a little further along and doing more like
Hmm.
elite work and you want to like really polish up that process, like, this should be for anybody, but I know some people it's harder to implement, maybe don't have a sales team. So it's probably a little bit daunting if you're like the owner and you're doing all the things yourself. But if you have, let's say, a sales team or just someone that's helping you with that can make sure to make that a priority. Like, how cool would that be if you just took a video and you send it out and then you literally got a video of somebody like, hey, thanks for sending that video. Like you said, mentioning something personal. So, it's not a recording or like the same thing everybody gets.
Right.
I would be blown away. Like that would be the greatest start to any relationship I could ever think of. And my personal opinion, as long as they're not a tire kicker or just looking for price, that would be one of the best things you could have to attract those better customers.
Right.
So that's surprising. Less people do. Well, maybe not that surprising, but I wish more people did that too. So you could kind of give me some. Like, how many people would you say do use that feature?
I would have to go look, but maybe 25% of the customer
Okay.
base, something like that.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah. That's a really good idea. Okay. And then you said it'll work with the CRMs, the job costing software,
Hmm.
but it also works with anything marketing related. So you can track all those leads and call rail. We were talking about what converts, like there's a way to
Hmm.
integrate that, Google Analytics, things like that.
Yeah. Yeah. We had an internal joke at some point about, marketing tracking because it was like such a hot topic for a while. And, so we've learned and built and, have some specialized functionality that like we speak marketing. So, um, sometimes we know a lot more about marketing tracking than some of the agencies that we talk with.
Oh, I
I'm sure
guarantee
you,
it.
yeah, I'm
Yeah.
sure you and I would be able to talk shop on that stuff. But like, yeah, it's not terribly difficult from like a implementation perspective, but you'd be surprised at how many people don't do it correctly. So, but
Yeah.
it's incredibly important because our goal is to be able to track, and I also should say we have a QR code system. We have like a lot of different ways to like track, like a QR per campaign. Like you have a QR code on your business card or a QR code on your truck. Those are two different options that we can, give you a different tracking to let you know, or like direct mail. We do a lot with direct mail. That's a pretty popular one actually. They're like say like fast estimate, send us a video of your vision, scan QR code, and they're in the process. Like that's something that has proven to be pretty effective. But all that stuff, like it's really important to track how that's flowing through. And we can get from like QR code scan or web session, Google Click ID or whatever, all the way into this is the video that was submitted by the user. So it's pretty powerful to understand that tracking for sure. Obviously, it's maybe more top of mind for folks like you, Alex, but contractors should also be obviously highly aware of where their marketing spend's going and how it's performing.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, it doesn't surprise me at all that people mess it up because it is so common. Like how many people mess up the tracking. Honestly, it can be kind of tough if you're using different systems. Like, we've had many struggles, especially when it's something new that we've not worked with to like get that tracking right. But like you said, you absolutely have to have it because, you know, we get, I get asked all the time, like about certain things, certain types of marketing, whether we're doing it or somebody else, or, some other thing, maybe offline marketing or, door hangers, whatever. And the
Hmm.
only response I say is like, anything can work, but you have to know if it does work by using good tracking. And if it does work and it's making you money, then keep doing it. Like
Right.
I'm never going to say if you can clearly tell it's making you money, keep doing it. There's been SEO campaigns that don't work. There's a million agencies that don't do it right. There's been bad Google ads, Facebook ads. It's been bad door hangers, all these different
Hmm.
types of marketing. Every single one has had a bad example of it that didn't work. But there's also, you know, way more probably that did work. So you just got to make sure, you're doing it the right way.
Yeah, my quick hot take on that, as I've like just seen, thousands of contractors, launch different stuff and consider this or that. And I've also been doing this enough. I've seen like kind of fads going. Like a big thing right now is text, kind of like cold text campaigns. And I've seen that to be, I've heard good things. I mean, I guess you never really know until you like see some like are actually hands-on with a company that's doing it. But that process of figuring out like for a specific contractor in a specific market, like what's going to work and what's not going to work. I think often the answer is a little bit more layered than like, will Facebook work for me? Will
Yeah.
Google work for me? It's like you need to be layering these approaches and the effectiveness of all of those approaches, if you are layered, is going to increase. If you're just throwing yourself out there on Facebook ads to a bunch of strangers who don't know, like you're gonna get some weird results because you haven't,
Yeah,
they
it
don't
does
know
work.
you.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's just like so. It takes financial commitment, and it's not like a day one type of thing for companies that are a little bit smaller. But those who are like able to commit to the process of like, here's like the layered approach that we think is going to work. I think those are the exciting ones where it's like, okay, I think we can get there. And obviously there are some success stories of like, we just figured out this like random, you know, keyword loophole and like dumped a bunch of money in and it worked for a little bit. A lot of those things I think are work for a little bit type of things, but they're not necessarily like
Yeah.
long-term strategies.
Yeah.
So yeah, it's a wild world. Marketing home services business is a lot more interesting, and maybe even more frustrating now than it used to be because there's just a lot of money going into it.
Yeah. Yeah. If you ever feel like you're cheating the system, you probably are, and it's probably not going to last. And then you're going to have
That's exactly right.
a big problem later because you're going to hire all these people to work and, things are going good. And then guess what? If anything happens, it's going to, you're going to lose that
Yeah.
lead flow. And then you're going to have all these people that are got families. You're going to have to lay them off and that kind of thing. So, yeah, big proponent on that, like doing things the right way, having omnipresence, doing multiple different channels so people know
Hmm.
who you are and becoming a brand. That's the only way to do it long term, like without stressing yourself out. Like, you're going to be stressed regardless, but just
Yeah.
nothing worse than like having to, lay off a ton of people just because you used a cheat code at one point and then it started not working.
Yeah. Yeah.
Do you ever do estimated pricing?
So we're working on that. We are working on a lot of things that I can't necessarily talk about, but um, there's we realize that that's a lot of what homeowners are looking for, right? And there's some tools. There's some like I've even seen marketing companies build their own stuff, which I think is good. Like that's healthy. Um, the insight there is like that's a huge question mark for a lot of homeowners. So like in terms of traffic and SEO and like getting people to kind of trust you a little bit, transparency is huge. I think I've got, yeah, there's a book back here. called The Transparency Sale, and I haven't read it in a long time, but homeowners want transparency. There's a lot of crooks. There's a lot of gimmicks. There's a lot of like wasted time that homeowners have experienced over the years of working with pros. So like, if you are genuinely transparent and like trying to help, so I had an experience recently. We've got a rental property not too far from where I'm at right now, and heat pump went out. It's like, okay, well, shoot, there we go. And there's an instant pricing tool that I'm very aware of, and unfortunately, it didn't give me any instant pricing. It told me what it was to finance equipment. I was like, well, shoot, well, that's not what I want, like, so I think there's a balance there. It's like you can't always get as specific as a homeowner might want. One, they don't know the requirements, right? Like they don't know what, elements they might need to get you like the tight price. But providing that general guideline and like what they should expect from a pricing perspective tends to be an everyone wins type of thing. There are, being too specific is dangerous. Suggesting one, like one action and expect a result and giving another also erodes trust pretty quickly. So yeah, there's a lot of tricks to it. We're working on something along those lines that I was hoping to be rolled out by now, but we want to get it right. It's not easy as funny it may seem, but there are some elements to it. But yes, I think that's really powerful. What our customers do right now, just to kind of wrap up my point here, is like what our customers do now is they digest the video, right? They watch the video and they're thinking through, okay, that's this many linear feet. Or, that deck's in bad shape. This homeowner wants it to be, they want a redeck, but we only do redecks on this specific thing. They're going to have to tear it off. That's going to be a lot more expensive than the home. They're like running the cash, they're running that process in their mind. That's typically how things go right now. And then honestly, it's a conversation, which is not a bad thing. I think we will still have a lot of that. Like some of our customers won't end up using our pricing assistant. They'll end up just wanting the video so that they can start to have conversations. But we do think that there's an opportunity and a need for a pricing assistant type of thing. So yes, we are working on that.
Okay. Is there any certain size of a contractor that fit best with this software, or is it kind of anybody, typically is a pretty good fit for it?
Yeah, if just the way our, like if you start to look at ROI, there's a certain number of leads per month that we like to see contractors have just to ensure that we can provide value. If you don't have any leads coming in, we're not going to be terribly valuable to you.
Yeah.
So, that's the biggest factor and that's like one of our big qualification questions is like, all right, what's your lead volume on a average week? Obviously in the fence deck industry, if you're anywhere north of like Nashville, it's, a different story in terms of seasonality, but, certain parts of the country have more of a seasonality effect. But if you're north of 20 leads per week, like we've got customers right now, like I looked the other day, we had a customer in Columbus, Ohio, and he's, got 15 leads over the weekend, 15 videos to review over the weekend. Huge benefit to his company to not have to like chase everybody down and just like call all of them. They're able to really streamline the process and even stack rank who they want to call based on the videos. So that we're getting to that season right now. So the numbers are fun to watch as our daily reports run because it's getting wild out there.
Yeah, for sure. Last thing, I know we're getting towards the end here. Pricing. Make sure everyone knows kind of how does that typically work?
Yeah, we have a couple of different pricing tiers based on your volume. So we do encourage annual plans, and that's less than $2,000 a month or $2,000 a year. Sorry, for like our base. Most of our customers fall into that. In the fencing and decking world, given the seasonality, we do some custom pricing because we know it's like really heavy. But basically, it's if the more lead volume you have, we may bump you up into a higher tier, but the ROI is still there. But it starts to just under $2,000 for the year, and that gets you a couple seats and full support, all that good stuff. And we integrate. We work with the web agency. We work with the marketing agencies. Full like, hey, book a meeting with our team to, if you got any problems, we do an onboarding call, all that stuff. There's no setup fee or anything. So yeah, that's pricing.
Gotcha. Okay. All right. Well, I know you got a meeting and I do too, coming up here soon, Jeff, but I appreciate you coming on the podcast and, sharing all this. If anybody has any questions, I'm guessing the website, just go to hellogroundwork.com.
Yep.
Okay. Yeah. Go check it out on there. He's got some pricing on there and, just basically giving you a little bit more information if you're trying to find that. But if you do want a demo, it looks like you can book that through the website too. So feel free to reach out. Hope everyone got a lot of value from this. Hope everyone is rethinking their sales strategy and kind of how they can improve it a little bit and stand out, because these little things do go a very, very long way. And, you can do all the best marketing and all the leads and all that stuff, but if you're not closing it, if you're not getting people to actually sign up for the projects, like you're just wasting money regardless. So make sure you have all stages, really accounted for. Going forward with the Fence and Deck Mastery podcast, going to get back on track here with some of our episodes. The sales season was crazy. We had a lot of new people signing up. So kind of push us back a little bit, but we're getting back on track now that all the contractors are kind of entering their busy season. So, get on back on track there. But that's it, Jeff. Thank you for coming on here, and I'm sure we'll be talking soon. And yeah, have a good rest of the week.
Yeah, thanks for having me on, Alex.
All right, take care.